Okay, thanks very much for joining us. We have Dexter Yeats here from the States, and she is an Asea-sponsored athlete, and I feel very honoured and privileged that she agreed to join us here this evening. Unfortunately for her time to do this live, it was 2:30 in the morning, so we're doing this at a respectable time for both of us. So we're going to start with a few questions for Dexter, and let's just enjoy her time with us, and hopefully this information is going to be useful for athletes from any age, from just the weekend warriors right up to the professional level athletes that are competing on that world arena, which is what Dexter is doing. So Dexter, if you could just describe a little bit about your life in the early days, because we have a competitor here that is not your average competitor. She is in an age group that is what my mum would be doing. And when I told my mum about this yesterday, she said, for goodness sake, don't ever ask me to do that. So the fact that Dexter is even doing this, and then you consider her age, is incredible. So, Dexter, maybe if you can share with us a little bit about life in the early days, and was triathlons a part of your life in the early days, or was it something that just happened later?
Okay. Well, I started, my parents owned a riding stable, so I started out as equestrian, riding horses in different horse events, and later on, I rode in what they called endurance rides, where it was 100-mile races on horseback, which got me kind of into the endurance frame of mind. And then when I heard about triathlon after my horse had retired, I thought, well, I can try that, and gave it a try and fell in love with the sport. And just for myself, I am not a fast person. I was not a natural-born gifted athlete, but I discovered that I have the gift of endurance. And so I do the longer distance races, the Ironmans, half Ironmans. A full Ironman is a 2.4-mile swim, 112 miles on your bike, and then a 26.2-mile run after all of the other events. And of course, a half is half those distances. I found that being able to just keep going was my gift. I did several Ironmans back in the early 1990s. And then my job, my life, everything changed, and I wasn't able to compete in those races. So I kind of got a little bit heavy, and when I retired, I thought, I really want to do that again. I was a little bit overweight, and I came to Sean Burke's gym. He introduced me to Asea, and I had tried to do an Ironman race and was unsuccessful. And when I came to his gym, I said, I need some help. And he said, well, let's put you on this product. And so the next race I did, which was the Boulder, Colorado race at altitude, and I had been on Asea for about a month at that time. I actually did the race, won my age group, and qualified for the World Championship, which wow, all right, I'm onto this product at this point. So that's kind of a history of where I came from and how I got started on the product.
And what age were you when you came back to do that triathlon?
I was, I think, 65.
Okay. Wow, it's incredible.
Senior citizen.
Crazy. Okay, and so when Sean first suggested that you should try this product, did you have any hesitations or skepticisms, or how did that kind of play out?
I thought, well, what have I got to lose? I'll give it a try. And, I just thought of something. I wasn't 65. I was 70. I don't even know how old I was. I was 70 when I got back into the sport. I didn't have any hesitation because I trusted Sean, and I've seen his sports achievements, and figured, well, maybe this is what I need. And as it turned out, I was having trouble doing the workouts necessary because for this type of a long distance race, you have to do those distances practically every week. You're doing 100-mile bike rides, you're doing, 2 and 3 mile swims, you're doing the, 15 to 20-mile runs, and you're doing this every single week. And the problems that I was having I would do one of the workouts. I could get one done, but the next day I was not able to do anything. So I had to spend so much time just recovering. But once I had been on the Asea product for a while, I was like, whoa, I feel great. The next morning I'd wake up after doing a 100-mile bike ride and say, oh, goody, I get to go swim 2 miles and run 10 today. And I anticipated and looked forward to it. I do take at least 1 day off a week because I think everybody needs a rest day. And another thing that I really have only discovered about the product, looking back over the history, because I've been on the product for 4 years now, is I also realize how much my immune system has improved. Doing a race or doing really hard workouts, I would find myself with a cold or the flu or just, body aches and not able to, participate because of illness. And I've recently discovered that my immune system has improved immensely. I used to always say, oh, it's recovery, but now I'm not. Whoa, I think it's recovery and immune system for me personally. And as I said before, I was 70 when I started on the product, and I'll be 74 this year. And I'm looking forward to 5 big world-class races. 2 of them are world championship races. So I am totally devoted to this product.
It's amazing. I just got goosebumps everywhere. And when we talk about the immune system, I mean, my life as a swimmer, it ended my career because I got sick with glandular fever and chronic fatigue, and it's all to do with the system. So I know athletes out there, whether you're a weekend warrior or an athlete competing, it's that recovery and that struggle and that getting sick and the breakdown that's occurring on your body on every level. And that's one of the things that Asea is amazing at. It's restoring those cells and allowing them to do their job, so we're not getting breakdown after breakdown on every level. So maybe let's just have a little chat about the dosages that you do take. So in a training phase and on race day, what is it that you're using as far as the gel and the liquid, and how are you using that on your body and in your body?
Okay, I start every morning with one of these 8-ounce pouches. It's just standard every single morning. And I will drink one of those first thing in the morning when I get up. And then I will throw whatever I'm planning on doing for the day. I will throw a couple more, 1 or 2 more, whatever I'm going to be doing, into an ice chest and take with me so that I can have them between my workouts. Once I leave the house, I may be doing a swim, a bike, or a run, and usually it's 2 of those in combination. So in order to kind of refresh my body after one workout, I will have another 8 ounces. And there are days that I will do I work out at the gym 3 days a week. So on those days, I may have 3 actual exercises. I may work out at the gym and then go for a swim and a run or a bike ride, depending upon what I have on my agenda for that day. So on that day, then I will have, at least 3 8 ounces, which is 24 ounces total. I know that if I am doing several workouts, having the extra in between workouts really helps me feel fresher for the second workout.
So how many hours a day are you actually working out?
It depends. Now, on Friday, I did a really hard bike ride. I need to get strength on my bike. So instead of just going out, and I wanted to do 100 miles, and instead of just going out and finding a nice flat terrain, I chose a hill, and it's a 6-mile hill with a gradual incline, but it is steady climb for 6 miles. And I did repeats on that till I had 100 miles. So I would have to say that was 50 miles of uphill and 50 miles of downhill. So they were challenging, and the amount of time it took me was 8 hours. Now, I did stop in between, and I had one of my 8-ounce pouches of Asea along with other food and so forth during the ride. So it was not a race pace by any stretch of the imagination. It was kind of just a leisurely, let's just go uphill all day long until we feel strong. So,
and is most of your training done solo or with people?
Most of it ends up solo. I do train at the gym and do strength training, and I do that with other people. And the swim, of course, is in the pool at this point because our lake is still full of snow water and very cold. But I'll be getting into the lake here shortly. So, but my running and my cycling is most of the time just by myself so that I can get out and concentrate on what I need to concentrate on. And a lot of people love to ride, but they want to go somewhere, and I'll just do hill repeat because I know that gives me the strength. That's the best way to get stronger.
Wow, amazing, incredible. So let's just talk about doping and maybe your achievements on the world scale. So I know last year you had an incredible year and you were crowned as the world champion, which is amazing achievement, and full credit to everything that you do and the person that you are, and everything that you do for Asea is amazing. So maybe let's talk about being on that world stage in that arena. What comes with that is doping. It comes with, you know, the stresses obviously of being the number one and keeping that crown. But we get asked a lot of questions about, is Asea safe? You know, are there people using it that have been tested? And, you know, it's always the top of mind fear of any athlete that looks at a product. Is it safe? Because they're very, very strict guidelines.
Absolutely. And that is one of the things that I love about this product is what it has done for me. And if you look at the ingredients, there's water and sodium chloride. That's all that's in here. And I could be tested at any time, at any event. Yet I know that it could happen at any time, especially at the international and the world championships, which I will be competing in 2 world championships this year. And at any time they can just, you know, tap you on the shoulder or give you a call and say, hey, we want to check you out. And I'm not the least bit concerned with the products. Now, I know that there are some Olympic athletes, and they also could be tested at any time. And they know that with the ingredients that are in Asea, there's no problems whatsoever. It's absolutely clean as it could be. So that gives me the confidence. And, you know, I feel that when I'm out there, if, you know, at a race or, you know, around where I could be chosen to be tested, because it is random. And I have not been, but if I was, I would confidently give them my blood or my urine, whatever they want, because I know it's clean.
Awesome. So on race day, is your dosages different to how you would do it on a training day?
It is different. I usually, as soon as I get up in the morning, like I said, it's every single morning I have a pouch. And then I will usually take one with me to the start line, because by the time you get up and get to the race and get all of the things done that you have to do before the race starts, there's usually a couple of hours or maybe even more. Some races have gone by, and I will have another one before the start of the race. In the half Ironman races, I'm kind of done at that point until afterwards, and then I'll take one so that my recovery will be good. But in the longer full Ironman races, I'll stick another pouch in my bags that you can pick up. They call them special needs bags, and you can pick it up halfway through the bike and again halfway through the run. You'll have them available. So I'll stick one in each of those bags to have it available to me halfway through, and just go out of the transition or out of the area where you pick them up with the pouch and be drinking some more. So race day, it really varies as to how much I get, but I get in as much as race. I will also put Renew in with my, because you're changing shoes between, you're putting shoes on when you start the bike, and then also you change for the run, and I will have the Renew 28 in there and just give my legs a good rub down, fast, but is squirt as much as I can and rub it on and head on out onto the bike or the run.
And I know when you get off a bike and you try and run, it's a really uncomfortable feeling in your legs. So when I personally done triathlons, that's something I've done in transition is I literally take the entire cap off, I squirt a huge blob, and on my wet, sweaty, it goes up and down. And I don't know for you, but for me, it's amazing. So maybe talk about what that feels like when you've done that on your legs.
Well, obviously, when you come out of the swim, you've been horizontal, and just getting upright again is a little bit disorienting. If you're swimming 2.4 miles, I'm usually out there for over an hour, and it's just like jumping up out of bed. You're kind of like, oh, okay, here we go. And my legs are, they just need kind of a little boost, or, it kind of helps me to get them oriented and feeling comfortable for running. Now the hard part, like you mentioned before, was getting off the bike, because I've been using my legs for 6-7 hours out on the bike course, and they're tired. There's no doubt about it. And rubbing the Renew on sort of gives them a little renewal, if you will. And so rubbing it on, just I might waste a bit because I'm a little liberal and I'm in a hurry, but I just smear it on, and my arms too, just to kind of loosen up your shoulders for running and stuff too. So I don't put it on my face. I usually have sunscreen on, and I don't want to get sunburned, but I definitely get it where I can use it on the run. And then of course, after the race is over, there's always another 8 ounces just to help me recover. And then I almost bathe in the Renew. It's just like everywhere. I have got it. I mean, you get chafed in places that you don't think you should be chafed, but you do get chafed there. And, I put it on the chafing and the muscle for just the general recovery.
Wow, awesome. And for the Renew in your training, are you using the Renew before and after your training as well? How do you use that?
Yes, I do. Depending upon what I'm doing and where I am, I will put it on. If I'm doing a bike run, I'll just put it on my legs because I'm wearing the same clothes. But for after the swim, I use it, everywhere to just freshen my body up. And of course, I after the swim, you take a shower, so I get it everywhere, and then go out and do what I'm doing. But I don't usually put it on before I swim because I figure it's going to get washed right off. But I do use it in between most of my sports, and of course in the morning when I get up, and at night before I go to bed. So yeah, I do use a lot of it.
Excellent. Well, it's clearly working, because you look absolutely amazing for someone who is. Are you 74?
I'll be 74 this year. I am racing as a 74-year-old, and it's kind of exciting because next year I'll be one of the youngsters in my age group. And as a 74-year-old, I have noticed my age group is growing immensely. In the U.S., we have a group of people that were born about a year after me, after the war was over. They're called the baby boomers. And so it's like a population explosion in my age group. So
wow.
To move away from the baby boomers and be in a new age group. So this year I'm racing is 74, and then next year I'll be with the 75 to 79-year-olds.
It's incredible. So Dexter was just sharing with me her schedule for this year. Maybe you can run down what it is you have in store for the rest of this year in the next 5 to 6 months, because most of us are sitting there on the treadmill of life just getting up and doing. And when you hear the incredible thing that Dexter is about to embark on, it made me sit up and go, wow, it's incredible that you can even imagine that you can do it, let alone go and do this. So what's in store for you for the next 5 months?
Oh, I am just beyond excited. I start the year in June, and I'm going to Ireland to do a full Ironman race. It's the first time they have had an Ironman race in Ireland, and so I'm very excited about that. Then in July, I go to Canada, where I will be doing a half Ironman in preparation for the World Championship half Ironman in Nice, France, which is the following month. And that is at the World Championship half Ironman is at the end of July. And no, I'm in Canada at the end of July. The 1st of September, I go to Nice, France for the Ironman 70.3, which is the half Ironman World Championship. And then 1 month later, I go to Kona, Hawaii for the full Ironman World Championship. And then a month later, just to kind of end the year, I go to Mexico to do another full Ironman. Just a little note here for the World Championships, you have to qualify. And to qualify, it usually means you have to win your age group at another race. So I'm just thrilled that I was able to qualify for not one, but 2 World Championships this year. So it's going to be an exciting year.
It's amazing that your body can actually cope with the travel. I mean, most people travel to Ireland and they spend days complaining about jet lag and, you know, in that story. But to get off a plane and have the endurance and stamina and the go to go and do that and then fly to another country and do it, I mean, that's an incredible testament to you, but also to what Asea is doing in your body.
Yes.
Being able to recover. So I often say to people, if you're flying, you know, Asea is amazing for that recovery. I no longer get jet lag, you know, so to see someone of your age fly, not just do Ironmans and triathlons and compete, but to do them on a world level where you are flying all over is absolutely amazing. So
yes, I do carry the TSA size little bottles of Asea on my carry-on, and I drink it during the flight. I have little, I think it's 3-ounce bottles is the max you can carry for the TSA, and I have those.
And do you take several of them in your bag so you have more than one dose? Oh,
yes,
that's a great idea.
because I'm taking a less, my body is used to the 8 ounces. So, and you can carry as many 3 ounces as you can fit in that little baggie, and I stuff them in there. It's the only liquid that I take on the flight so that I can have plenty of it for the flight. So
that's a fantastic tip.
My suitcase is full of pouches, so as soon as I get off the plane.
Oh, I love it. And one of our final questions is, as an Asea sponsored athlete, what does that really mean? And how long have you been an Asea sponsored athlete?
Okay. I was first sponsored in 2015. And what it means is I get the product, which is a big help. And then I also get help with my entry and travel. So, you know, as a sponsored athlete, that's a pretty amazing package, and it works well for me and allows me the ability to do these races. But without the product, I know I wouldn't be able to. So the product is just, it's golden for me.
So it's so great. And so people in your age group, are they looking at you and asking you, what are you doing? Or is it a bit of a secret where you're not really showing them and telling them?
Oh, no, they know I wear my Asea kit, and that's another thing. I do get the kit, which is the outfit you wear when you're racing, and it's emblazoned with Asea. I guess you can't see my shirt here, but it does say Asea on it, and I wear that when I'm racing, and I wear it to they have like a village, an athlete village, and I wear my Asea stuff in the village. And then when I'm fortunate enough to get on the podium, I'm also wearing it. And yes, I do get asked, and I tell them, hey, this is my story. And wow, it's really amazing, because I know a lot of them are having trouble recovering. And a lot of them say, man, I just do one Ironman and I'm wiped out. I planned one for a year and that's it. And so I basically have, it's over a 6-month period, but most of the races are 4 and 5 weeks apart, the way it works out for the 5 races. So between June and November, I'm racing like every 5 weeks. And so the recovery is just amazing. And then, of course, like I said earlier, having the immune system boost has been really helpful too.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
it's clean, so you're good. How can you lose?
Absolutely. And I think it's getting the dosage right for your body. When people hear some of these dosages, they might be kind of going, well, that's a lot and that's a lot of money. But, you have to sit and assess what it is you want to do and what state your body's in to get it to a level of either health or extreme. When you're doing extreme things like this, 8 hours of training a day, most people are sitting at a desk for 8 hours and tired. When you add the stress and the toll that's taking on your body, you really do need to replenish redox, and that's why you're able to do it. So,
Absolutely. Go ahead.
No, I just often say to people, you have to assess, this really is the cheapest way to keep your car running, which is your body, so that you have, you're not paying for illness and you're not paying for treatments and you're not paying for the breakdown and how to fix that.
Yes. And when I started, though, I did start with the basic 2 ounce. And as I increased my dose and I was doing more and more training and so forth, it was not, I didn't start with the 8 ounces. And I think that might be kind of hard on somebody who first started with all of the detox would have to be going through. So just as a side note, as I did start with the 2 ounces, but that was 4 years ago. So
fantastic. Well, I think that's answered all of my questions. I'm sure there's probably other questions out there, but I really appreciate you taking the time and coming down to the gym and having them set you up on Zoom, because I know it's not easy today. You're good on a bike.
It's very, I'm like, Veronica, help me here. But one thing is, it just might be of interest, is I do have an Instagram account. If people wanted to see what I do on a daily basis, I try to post on that, and it's just under my name, Dexter Yeats, on Instagram and also on Facebook. So it's kind of fun to see other Asea people or anybody else that is, following me, and they can see what actually does transpire in a day.
Yeah, and I love following you, and I got the chance to have a little run with Dexter in Utah, and it's so awesome just to have your presence at these events and be the shining light that you are, because you absolutely glow from the inside out. And to see that after you've probably been doing who knows what today. What have you been doing today? You've probably done a good 6 hours training.
Not quite that much yet, but the day's still young.
Yes.
It's the middle of the afternoon, so yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm sure everyone on the webinar and watching the replays as well. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And
thank you so much.
We'll talk to you again soon.
All righty.
I'll just stop this recording.